Case of defamation by our client against the defendant, who is our client was a former driver, and he was accused of running away with her money, 200,000. The court found that the statement made by Zahida Rafiq as defamatory, and they have ordered the defendants to pay 150,000 damages and 40,000 costs.
Before starting on this montage video, what you need to know is we are going to present about our discussion on one of the cases that takes proceeding in any court in Malaysia. This case also was based in defamation chapter. The Defamation Act does not define the term defamation. Instead, the definition of defamation can be found in the case law of Malaysia and the common law of England under Section 3 of the Civil Law Act 1956, the common law of England as of 7 April 1956 on defamation is applicable in Malaysia. Defamation shall consist of the publication to a third party of matter in which all the circumstances will be likely to affect a person adversely in the estimation of reasonable people generally. Defamation also is the publication of a statement which affects a person's reputation in that it tends to lower him in the estimation of right-thinking members of society generally by making them shun or avoid him. A statement which disparages a man's reputation in relation to his office, profession, calling, trade, or business may be defamatory. For example, the imputation of some quality which is essential to the successful carrying on of his office, trade, or profession, such as want of ability, incompetence, and dishonest or fraudulent conduct. Under common law, in order to constitute defamation, the claim must generally be false and must have been made to someone other than the person who has been defamed. Some common law jurisdictions also distinguish between spoken defamation, known as slander, and defamation in other media, such as printed words or images, called libel. In this case, the statement issued by NORIZAM really tarnished the image of the plaintiff, namely Zahida Muhammad Rafiq.
So, hi. We move to the plaintiff of this case. Basically, what is plaintiff? So, plaintiff is the side that bring the case to the court. So, the plaintiff in this case is Nur Azman Azmi. Nur Azman Azmi was a driver for the defendant. He commenced a defamation suit against the defendant on the grounds that impugn words published in the article referred to him. He brings this case to the court because it contained his reputation and character, and also affected his opportunity to get a new job. So after that, the defendant of this case. What is defendant? Basically, a defendant is the side that getting sued by the plaintiff in the court. So the defendant in these cases is Zahida Muhammad Rafiq. So she was an actress. She raised the defense of absolute privilege and justification and counterclaim for the return of RM 200,000. Before this, she lodged a police report against the plaintiff. So the High Court also allowed the plaintiff claims and dismissed the defendant's counterclaim.
Today I will be presenting about the ways defamatory statements is being made for the Nur Azman Azmi versus Zahida Muhammad Rafiq defamation case. Defamatory statement is a speech or writing that is defamatory is likely to damage someone's good reputation. The statement can be in writing or verbally method. After a deep research through this case, we found out that the defamatory statement is being made using writing method. It is because we found out that the defendant made a police report to make a defamation statement toward the plaintiff. The plaintiff was taken offense with the statement in the police report. The next one, I will be presenting about the type of defamation based on the case that we have choose. We found out that libel is a type of defamation that being used in this case. Libel is an act of publishing a false statement that can causes people to have a bad opinion towards someone else. It is usually came as a written statement such as article or reports. In this case, we can see clearly that the words in the report is meant to clarify that the plaintiff is a criminal and untrustworthy workers. This kind of defamation surely will bring plaintiff reputation down.
Court decision. Based on the court decision that have been read and referenced during the first trial which took place in the High Court, the defendant cannot counterclaim and cause the plaintiff to almost win the case. Subsequently, the defendant have the rights to defend herself, and the Court of Appeal allowed the action. Next, at the end of the Court of Appeal, the court found that the plaintiff had lost to win the case against the defendant. Moreover, this is because the evidence has been submitted by the plaintiff to prove that the intent of the defendant filing a police report and making allegations against him is because he knew of allegations of her affair with a minister and also wanted cheap publicity such as getting media attention is baseless and unclear evidence. In addition, witnesses on behalf of the plaintiff were not convincing, and also the absence of the plaintiff toward and separate after the incident strongly proving that he was guilty. But at the end of the case has been dismissed and no one has won in this case. So that's all from me. We will move to the next part.
The offence of defamation is defined under Section 499 of the Penal Code. In general, Section 499 stipulates that anyone who creates or publishes any false statement. According to Section 500 of Penal Code, the accused is subject to a maximum sentence of 2 years in prison, a fine, or both in defaming another person. So this is our article on the related case. So the conclusion is the defendant failed to counterclaim during the first trial in the High Court. The defendant was then awarded the right to self-defense by Court of Appeal. Since no one has won this case, the case has been dismissed. We can draw the conclusion from this case that we should take caution while making public statement in order to avoid directly defaming someone. To avoid defamation or misunderstanding by others, we should make remarks that are truthful to avoid situations like this. A clear statement will prohibit the other person from making any allegation. We must avoid employing figurative terms to prevent being misconstrued by others.